What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the LFC Transfer YouTube channel. We're just going live. It's just me and Chazza for the moment. We will potentially have James joining us as well, a new lad. How are you, Chazza? Start off with, how are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, good man. Friday, finish work, always a good day. So can't
Happy
complain.
days. Going into a busy weekend of football, Premier League football. We have seen, Aston Villa and Southampton playing tonight. I haven't actually checked the score on that for ages. What is the score on that, by the way?
I don't know. Let's have a quick little look here. Aston Villa 1-0 to Southampton. Adam
Oh,
Armstrong.
Aston Villa are in trouble then. But a busy weekend of Premier League football. But we're going to be discussing, first of all, before we get into anything to do with West Ham United, I'm sure we'll do a proper preview stream tomorrow. But today, we're going to start off with some transfer news. Now, it's been a bit of a slow news day for us at LFC Transfer Room. But we'll start off with Toni Kroos. A report came out this morning from Florian Plettenberg that he was being linked with Liverpool and Manchester City. Before we get into the sort of inner detail, Toni Kroos at Liverpool, would you say yes or no, Charlie?
100% yes. You would say no to Toni Kroos at the club.
Our Twitter comments, I think.
Well, look, as someone who has been an admin on a very large Twitter platform for a long time, ignore everything Twitter says. That's my number one rule. As much as I'm sure, there's some great people on Twitter, a good 99.9% of them don't have a clue what they're talking about. So yeah, I wouldn't care. One interesting thing though, sorry if you can hear fireworks in the background too.
Same here with me.
Yeah. Yeah, so one thing with the whole Kroos thing, I can't remember him being linked to us in the past year. Maybe a bit ago. So maybe if it's a report that someone has forgot to release and now they're just saying Liverpool linked. But maybe it's just, Klopp's German, Kroos is German. Match made in heaven, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think he fits Liverpool style that much. A lot of people are saying, he's too old. He's only 31. He's the same age as Jordan Henderson.
And we'll just give Henderson like a 3-year deal.
5-year deal, wouldn't it?
Nah, so it's free with a year to extend if
there you
on
go.
the performances.
But there we go. So Liverpool. Toni Kroos is a world-class footballer. We all know this. He's won, I think, 5 league titles and 4 Champions League titles with everyone. So we have actually got James with us now. So we will add him in. How are you, James?
Very, very well indeed. I've just got back from a different YouTube show. It was on the Manchester United agenda, so I was in enemy territory, guys.
Oh dear.
And, they've got a show called The Quizmaster where they ask you questions about the world of football, which I did okay in, which I'm quite happy with that. But also it was just to ensure that they remembered that we won 5-0 convincingly in their own backyard.
Yeah, so a quick fire stream today. We've got James with us. What are your thoughts on the links with Toni Kroos this morning?
I think, are they substantial? Really, I mean, we had the debacle with Jude Bellingham that come back out into the media recently and rubbish that claim. Do you know I don't think does he suit our play? Do we need an aging Toni Kroos? I would much more stick to the model. Keep bringing in those young players for cheap, develop them and move them on. That's my personal opinion on it. I think he's technically fantastic, but physically, Toni Kroos, really?
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Toni Kroos himself actually came out and rubbished the news on Twitter, which is a funny one. It's an interesting one. But the report also said that he would like to finish his career at Real Madrid, which I'd probably see him doing. He is an absolute legend there. Other reports today: Dusan Vlahovic, Chaz. What can you report on that for us?
I mean, my love of Dusan Vlahovic is, if I could have anybody, I would probably have him as a striker. Again, doing well in the Serie A so far this year. I think he's got 8 goals. There's only one behind the top goal scorer. So, again, can't complain. But I've always said I think he's a very Harry Kane-esque player. He's a target man who can drop deep and also, create play. However, the only thing for me is his price tag. Obviously, it is being reported. Obviously, he's refused a contract first and foremost. So his contract will be ending at the end of the 2023 season. So a year and a half. Obviously, again, Atletico Madrid bid 60 million euros for him last season, which was turned down by Fiorentina, which they wanted 70 million. But in a recent report by Goal now, they're saying that Fiorentina want 80 million for him. 80 million euros, that is. For someone whose contract ends in a year and a half, absolutely no club in their right mind is going to pay that transfer fee. They'll be very, very lucky if somebody comes in with 50 million in January, because they have to take it at the end of the day. But really quickly as well, if you are on Twitter, make sure you do come over to our YouTube. It's where you can get your comments in, join the discussion. And yeah, YouTube's just better all around. So make sure you subscribe.
Yeah. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you come over onto the YouTube and see our beautiful faces? And it's a lot more accessible than Twitter as well, but that is where our main audience comes, so we have to share it there. But make sure you do come over onto the YouTube. That is the best place that you can watch this content. James, how much have you seen of Dusan Vlahovic, and would you be interested in bringing him to Anfield?
I would be interested in bringing him in, but I don't think he's a good striker. And you are right, Charlie, in saying in that Harry Kane-esque mould. Absolutely. We need to be thinking about, well, look, Bobby Firmino, the conundrum of Bobby Firmino. We love him. He's our number 9 and he will score. Or will he? And that's the bit for me. Has Bobby Firmino reached his peak with Liverpool? Is he starting now to make his way down the other side of that statistical form mountain? I think we need to be looking at a striker. I've been very, very vocal in saying that that's the next position that I think we need to now be targeting. But you're right, Charlie. The prices that are being quoted, no, for an English player of the same age and same stature, I can understand it, because English players have the English player tax, as we like to call it. He's a good player, but I think it's very much a gamble. Really, would Harry Kane himself, that style of player, fit into our system? Bobby Firmino, as we all know, drops into the tip of our midfield and is like an animal after food when he hasn't been fed for weeks. Is this guy going to do that? I don't think so. But do you know what is nice is I campaign vigorously for us to be in the conversation for these sorts of players in that transfer window that had just gone. A lot of people were falling off of the bandwagon and saying, why have we not signed anybody? Why have we not done this and that? My argument was, it's not that we didn't sign anybody. It's the fact that we were not in the conversation for these players. And a club of our size should be in the conversation for the world's best players.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned a lot about Firmino. We've finally got an update from Jurgen Klopp about him today. A bit of annoying news. He will be missing for at least 4 weeks, which is for a very big frustration. How much will we miss Firmino, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, look, I have been one of Firmino's biggest critiques. I've been very much saying he needs to be replaced. And obviously, this season so far, he has started to prove me wrong. Really getting on the end of finishing his chances for once, unlike last season. I still think we need to replace him. But my biggest concern is going into AFCON, we know what Liverpool's 4 weeks is. Liverpool never, ever, ever given in a time scale unless it's a game or two. The fact that they're saying 4 weeks worries me, because we know Jordan Henderson was out for 4 weeks or like 6 weeks last season, and he ended up being out from February until the end of the season. So that's worrying. I can see him being out for at least 2 months personally, especially if it's his hamstring, which brings up the massive issue of AFCON. We were obviously sold on the dream of, so we're only going to miss 2 games, but now it's being revealed we're going to miss about 8. So not ideal. And we're literally going into AFCON, if Firmino is injured, with 3 forwards, Jota, Origi and Minamino. We will not score more than 5 goals in them games, and Diogo Jota will score every single goal because the other 2 are useless. We need Firmino, injury or not, even if he is out until, let's say he is just out until the beginning of December, we need to buy a striker in January.
Well, Charlie, I mean, the bit that comes from me with this is we would have thought that the club would have learned the lessons of the centre-back situation last season. Now, we've let Wijnaldum go, okay, and we've sort of got by in midfield, okay, no problems. But if you're on about Firmino, you're an advocate for Firmino to leave the football club. We know that tactically, he's absolutely essential to this football club and how we play the game. One is replacing him is a very, very difficult task. Two, would we then, if we bring in someone else, employ a new tactical system, which is playing it's dicing with death, isn't it, tactically? Because we've now come across a formation that's been perfected over 4 or 5 years. To simply take out Bobby Firmino from this Liverpool team isn't going to be a straightforward. Who in the world plays like him? It's going to be very tough. If it was me and he was out and the players go to the AFCON, I mean, we haven't even got Salah because he's going to the AFCON. You would move Salah into the middle and bring someone out onto the right. But the reality is this: we don't tend to buy anybody in January unless it's Virgil van Dijk or someone that we've really done our homework and due diligence on. The fact that we didn't sign anybody in the summer, the fact that happened last season with the centre-backs, if we don't bring anybody in January, I think a serious question now needs to be asked of the hierarchy saying, come on, you're professionals, paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to deal in pre-planning. Why on earth has this not been planned? I don't want to sound critical of the club because look where we are. But the reality is, if I was a manager there or I was in charge of the recruitment across the summer, that would have been one of the... They surely knew about this.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm an advocate for Firmino leaving. I'd say I'm an advocate for change, for getting a young striker who will eventually replace Firmino. And I think if we're a serious club and we want to win the Premier League and the Champions League this season, we go out and we buy someone of the prowess of Erling Haaland or
£65 million.
I don't think that's real, personally. But in January, if that 65 million is real, if Liverpool are deadly, deadly serious, they should go to Dortmund in January and say, I'll give you 100 million from right now. Because if the 65 million is real, everyone's going to be after him. But I think we go out and we sign a long-term striker, even if we have to change the system. We've seen Jurgen Klopp likes to play a 4-3-2-1 or 4-2-3-1. If we go out and buy someone who can be that focal point up front, I think we should just do it in January. We know that FSG don't like parting with money, but when it's needed, they will, like Van Dijk, like Alisson. So, yeah, I do think we need a striker in January, though.
I'm going to throw this out there. Sorry, James. Sorry, James. I'm going to throw this out there. Yeah. Did the club make a mistake then in selling Xherdan Shaqiri in the summer?
Yes. I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I think hindsight is a very nice thing, especially now. I would have preferred Origi to leave and Shaqiri to stay. But again, I think one of them had to leave, and it just happened to be Shaqiri. Shaqiri, again, not the happiest we say not the happiest, but I think Origi's more happier to sit on the bench than Shaqiri was. So yeah, I would have liked Shaqiri to stay, but again, it didn't happen. So it is what it is, isn't it?
I think in terms of the Origi deal, Jurgen Klopp did actually come out and said he couldn't believe that no one had actually bid for Divock Origi, which lends to the suggestion that indeed he was available. I think you're right. It would have been one of the two. Let's not forget Minamino went out on loan to Southampton last season. Was he in the firing line also as well? He did perform well for Southampton, actually. In my opinion, when he played, he was actually very good. But I would chuck a football manager dream fantasy one out there, which shouldn't be out the realms of possibility. There's a certain man who lit up the Premier League over the past 5 or 6 seasons that made the big move to Spain. There's been an absolute disaster that has actually... Real Madrid have come out this week and said they're open to this player leaving the club. Why are we not trying to put together some sort of a loan deal or even inquire about Eden Hazard?
I know. That is a very, very good link because that was the next point on my thing. James, you're brilliant. I managed to do that. Hazard, is it really I don't know. If it was short term for me, if we say 12-month or 18-month loan, sure. He's a player who was unbelievable for Chelsea. He single-handedly won them titles, but he also had very big spells of just nothing. The
full
dust
year
was going
without
2 full
scoring.
years without goals, by the way. But Charlie, is Hazard past it, or would you take him at Anfield in January?
He is 100% past it. The only logical reason any Liverpool fan should be thinking of taking Eden Hazard is to annoy the shit out of Chelsea fans. Imagine the fume from Chelsea fans if he joined Liverpool. Like, it would be unbelievable. Number one reason we shouldn't sign him is he's stupidly injury prone. That's the reason why he hasn't got started at Real Madrid, is because he's getting injured all the time. 2, because of the injuries, we haven't seen him play in about 2 years, so we don't know if he's that good anymore. Chelsea Eden Hazard was a monster for certain spells of his Chelsea career, and the main reason we shouldn't sign him is because his wages are absolutely crazy.
407 grand a week.
Exactly. And we're going to be paying 407 grand a week for somebody who will most likely be sitting on a bench the entire time. It is absolutely no, FSG would never, ever, ever sanction it. And Jurgen Klopp wouldn't want him at the club. So anyone who's even saying that needs a reality check.
Well, I mean, also you've got Philip Coutinho. They won't go away, will they? The rumours won't go away.
I'd take Coutinho over Hazard in not even a question in my mind. I don't care how good Hazard was or how good Coutinho was. At this current moment, Coutinho has played with the current proper players. He's still, I think he'd take a massive wage cut to come to Liverpool. Again, he's worked under Jurgen Klopp. Again, I think he's probably at this, even though they're both, at the moment, not in the best form. I still think we could get more out of Coutinho than we could Hazard.
Yeah. Apologies, boys. I am scratching my pizza because I'm going out after this.
What flavour have you gone for, Chris?
I've gone for a 99 pence margarita pizza from Tesco, a student special, James.
You should really try the Aldi Parmesan and deep salami Italian stone baked for 87 pence.
Oh, I would love to. Unfortunately, it is about an hour's walk away. So I'm gonna have to get delivered next time I order. But yeah, it's been a bit of a slow day in terms of Liverpool news. But if you do want to check out all the Liverpool news and stuff that will be coming out every single day, Charlie will be doing a daily dose of Liverpool. Well, not just Charlie, but all of us probably, but we don't put too much pressure on Charlie.
I'll attempt to do it. Yeah,
Charlie will be the main man on that stuff. So make sure you go check that out. Really easy, consumable content for you at home to go and talk about Liverpool. We'll just have a couple of minutes on West Ham United because I'm not sure if I'll see you boys before the game. James, how are you feeling?
It's a tough game. Anybody who knows their football knows that this is a tough game. Liverpool tend to do quite well at the London Stadium. I can remember, obviously, with Salah going there in that bright orange kit doing the business. Oxlade-Chamberlain going there, scoring. Lallana, when we drew there, got the goal. I think... Do you know what? I'm gonna chuck it out there. I'll be happy with a point. It's a long season. We learned lessons from when we won the league. It's a long, hard season. Would you put your mortgage on Man City going there and winning right now? No. Would you put your money there in Chelsea? No. They're good. They're a good team. They are a very, very good team. However, we've seen Liverpool turn up in these very, very difficult games or supposed difficult games and play wonderful stuff and get the win. We've also saw Liverpool turn up against, let's say, lesser run-of-the-mill teams and draw. That's been the beating heart of Liverpool probably for the past 30 years. We beat the big teams and struggle for consistency against the let's say, lesser-known teams. Just look at the weekend results at the weekend. There's a prime example of that. I would say, if I was to bet right now, I think we go there and I think we get a win, but I would be happy with a draw.
It's a weird one because West Ham aren't really going to the London Stadium isn't the biggest game of the season, but it's also not against a small team. I think even West Ham, when they're not fourth in the table, are a dangerous proposition whenever. They're quite a volatile club, and But now they seem to have some stability under David Moyes, and Jurgen Klopp was full of praise for him, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, Jurgen Klopp's full of praise for everyone, isn't he? He's not going to say, oh, David Moyes, yeah, he's a shit manager. Him, like, of course, he's going to be like, oh, yeah, go David Moyes. Realistically, if we want to be winning the league, we need to get 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Chelsea come here and win 100%. Chelsea have been very good this season, and I think they'll do the same to Brighton. It is a must-win game because we drop points against Brighton, and if we are genuinely serious title contenders, we have to win. Saying that, I'm not worried at all. I think we turn over West Ham pretty much every time we play them. We have done for a long time now. Oxlade-Chamberlain loves a little return back to London. Salah, always likes a goal against them. So even though have been playing good football, I'm questionable of that. I do still think they will finish in a high position, maybe break into the top 6 this year. But I think we should go there and turn them over easily, in my opinion. I know I'll probably do a score prediction, and I'll probably change it, but I reckon we'll win 4-0 there.
4-0.
Who's scoring?
Salah 2, Jota 2.
I would say 3-1. It would be more realistic, but I love your enthusiasm. But I've got a question for you, Charlie. You say that West Ham are potentially a top 6 side. Here's a question for you. Would you be happy with a point away at Chelsea or Arsenal or Tottenham?
I wouldn't be at Tottenham. Arsenal, we always struggle at the Emirates. I think you can't just look at it as like, top 6. You have to look at it as like certain clubs. Like we always struggled at the Emirates apart from last year. Tottenham, we usually always turn them over. I think it's usually a difficult game, but I think we always pull it out the bag. And I'd 100% be happy with Chelsea because they're a title challenger at the moment. With a point against them. Obviously, we already got a point against them, but they were down to 10 men, and I don't think anyone was happy with a point against them then. But yeah, I think I'm confident we'll turn them over.
Obviously, last season was a completely different commodity, but in our worst run of the season, we still managed to beat West Ham at the London Stadium by 3-1. And by the way, Mo Salah's goal in that counter-attacking finish was just sublime. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the LFC Transfer Room. We will be back tomorrow with a proper preview stream for West Ham United. We will have a video out tomorrow with the Athletics correspondent Roshane Thomas, absolute legend, by the way. Go follow him on Twitter as well. And yeah, make sure you check out Daily Dose, which came out earlier on from Charlie, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, as we said. Make sure you follow James on Twitter as well. I think it's a debut stream, James, isn't it?
It is my debut stream with you guys, and I'm delighted to be here. I tend to try and just be realistic as much as possible, although, like with Matty, when I think I did a stream with him or a podcast with Matty, he said that we would win 6-0. I think it was in a particular game. I love his enthusiasm, but I tend to, I've seen it too many times. I'm 35 years old. I've seen it so many times now, and I think, yeah, you're right. I think I want to win at West Ham. If we're going to win the league, we need to win at West Ham. But a draw wouldn't signal the end of the title ambitions. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. But make sure you subscribe to the channel, as we said, and we will see you in